Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos?
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless deviants are involved.
Welcome to Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy, and let's talk about the first post-credit scene from the Eternals. Spoiler alert. So I'm going to explain who Patton Oswalt is playing, who Harry Styles is playing, and most importantly, what all of this has to do with Thanos, the Snap, and the future of the MCU. But first, here is our Screen Crush trivia question. The answer is at the end of the video, or skip to this time code. In the comics, Adam Warlock gave Thanos an Infinity Stone for safekeeping. Which stone was it? Let me know your answer down in the comments. So let's break down this scene. Now this is after Arishem has come back to Earth to take away Circe, Sprite, Phastos, and Kingo. And now Thena, Druig, and Makkari are in space searching for other Eternals so they can free them from the Celestials' mind control. Makkari says it's been weeks since they've heard from the others, and Thena immediately suspects Arishem and says they have to go back. But then Thena senses something and pulls out her blades. Makkari says, I sense it too, but Druig has no idea what's going on. I think this is because Makkari was sensing the vibrations caused by the teleporter. Teleportation moves around air molecules and she would be able to sense this. Or maybe the two of them simply can sense that another Eternal is nearby. I mean, it could be. They were able to find one another pretty easily after being separated for 500 years. And then a portal opens, and this is not like one of the portals that we saw open with the Space Stone, or the Bifrost, or even Doctor Strange's Sling Ring. This looks more like the several bands of light from the teleporter in Star Trek, showing that this is a completely new technology or magic. Now, in the shadows, it looks like someone is throwing Pip the Troll through these bands of light, not that he's teleporting under his own power. Okay, so rewind. Who is Pip the Troll? He's alien royalty from another planet called Laxtasia, where he was 260th in line for the throne. So because he had no responsibilities, he was like Eddie Murphy's girl and he partied all the time. Until one night he fell in with some trolls, they partied all night, and this turned him into a troll. Kind of like hanging out with audio majors in college. You spend one night with those guys and next thing you know you're trying to turn your Lego Slave 1 into a bong. So Pip is now a troll and he falls in with another cosmic hero called Adam Warlock. And Adam Warlock is going to be a key part of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with Will Poulter playing him. So Pip becomes Adam Warlock's wisecracking, cigar-smoking sidekick until Thanos destroyed his mind. And this is the important part. Adam placed himself, Pip, and Gamora inside Soul World, the pocket dimension that we actually saw in Avengers Infinity War. Now, in Infinity War, we see that Gamora still exists inside this pocket dimension, inside the Soul Stone. So I'm wondering if somehow, the MCU Adam Warlock will have access to Soul World, and he can place Gamora's soul into her body from this other reality. Either way, I hope Pip and Adam end up teaming up like they do in the comics. Now, also in the comics, Pip was briefly entrusted with the Space Stone, which gave him the ability to teleport, and he retained this ability after he lost the stone. But in this scene, it doesn't seem like he's the one doing the teleporting. Like I said, someone throws him. But also, Eros materializes on his own a moment later, making me think that he's the one who has the power to teleport. I don't blame them for casting Harry Styles. The guy looks amazing. It's crazy that he and the other Eternals could be millions of years old and still look this good. I guess not all of us have the luxury of being immortal space robots. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, aging seems to equal declining. Like I recently learned that men lose 1 to 2% of our testosterone every year after we turn 30, and that can result in increased belly fat, muscle loss, fatigue, and depression. But that's where Hone comes in. They're the sponsor of this video. Hone helps you to optimize your hormone level. Now look, I know, that sounds strange. I was wary of the whole process at first too, but that's because I am not a medical expert. But Hone is. They are a premier men's health clinic who only offer products and treatments prescribed by a physician that you consult with directly. To do this, they send you a very easy to use sample home assessment so they can measure your biomarkers to gauge your testosterone level. It comes with these lancets, which are painless, and the whole process is very easy to use. This is real treatment with real physicians, real science, and real medications, including FDA-approved medications. If you do meet the criteria, they give you 3 custom treatment options: a cream, a pill, or an injection. Afterwards, you might feel increased focus and muscle mass, decreased body fat, and better sleep. So for a limited time only, viewers get their at-home testing and a doctor consultation for only $45. So click the link in the description below to take advantage of this special offer now. So back to the ending explained. And before I move on to Eros, I just have to praise the casting of Patton Oswalt as Pip. He did appear in the MCU before as the Kanan brothers on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he is also the voice of MODOK.
Time to change the world by bringing it to its knees. Attack!
Because he is a massive comic book fan. He's been into comics way before the superhero movie renaissance. He wore a Wolverine costume on Jimmy Kimmel Live back in 2003 when he was the co-host. So for him to finally make it to the big show, the movies, That's just terrific. So then Pip announces Starfox, who has more nicknames than Apollo Creed.
The Dancing Destroyer, the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yo, you think you got enough names?
He shouldn't stab it. Almost done.
Pip announces that Eros defeated Black Roger, which, God, this is a deep Marvel cut. Eros had this girlfriend named Heater, not Heather, and he takes her to this alien club. So there's a dude in a metal suit there called Black Roger, and he tries to take her away, and then the band leader turns into a wolf and scares him off. Now later, Black Roger follows Heater around so much that she sells herself into slavery just to get away from him, and Eros ends up buying her out of a vending machine. Space. Pip also calls him the Knave of Hearts because, and this is true, his main superpower, apart from flight, is to stimulate the pleasure centers of people's brains and make them fall in love with him. In the comics, he's hooked up with just about everyone, from She-Hulk to Tigra. And in the comics, he also had a recent run about how his superpower is basically date rape. He was Me Too'd, went on trial, and he was basically canceled. But then later it was revealed that he actually did those things because Thanos was in his brain making him do stuff, so he got a pass. Still pretty icky though. But you don't care about all that comic stuff. You want to know about how he could be a royal prince of Titan. Titan, Thanos' home planet, once a flourishing civilization that fell, according to Thanos, because
Too many mouths, not enough to go around.
Now, we have a video out about how Thanos was right. It theorizes that Titan actually fell in a multiversal war because we see these same Titan ships in Loki. And we have another one out soon about how Thanos wasn't eternal and his real plan was to stop the emergences. So subscribe and smash that bell to make sure you don't miss it. So, in the comics, Eros was indeed from Titan, but Titan was actually on the moon of Saturn called Titan, and it was a colony of Eternals who went off into space. And in the comics, the Eternals are not space robots, they're immortal offshoots of humanity who were created by the Celestials, just like the Deviants. The Titan colony was started by Alars, who is also called Mentor. He had two sons, Eros and Thanos, Love and Death. The reason Thanos looks so different is because he had a little bit of a dormant deviant DNA in his blood. So this made the other Titans treat him like a misfit, and he and his dentist elf friend go into a cave and commit necrophilia. Actually, the only part of that that's made up is the dentist elf, the rest is in the comics. Anyway, back to Eros. In the comics, Thanos destroys Titan, so Eros goes around the universe partying and getting more space action than Kirk and Riker combined.
Ever see the episode he this green
He became an Avenger for a little while until Gamora kills him to prevent Thanos from returning to the dead. So, that's the background on Eros. Back to this scene. Eros is played by Harry Styles, who's some kind of cake. He tells the Eternals that their friends are in big trouble, and then he holds up an orb and says, but we know how to find them. So what is this orb? The boring answer is that it's one of the orbs that the Prime Eternal uses to speak to the Celestials. Eros' father was the ruler of Titan, so presumably he would have been Prime Eternal. So Eros would have this orb, and he would use it to look into whatever the Celestials are up to, or he could use it to find the other Eternals. Or maybe, when Thanos destroyed the Infinity Stones, the energy of the Soul Stone reformed into a new stone, and this can be used to locate any soul in the universe. Then, after Adam Warlock is introduced in Guardians Volume 3, he will somehow get the Soul Stone from Eros. Just a thought. Pip announces that he is the brother of Thanos, which Makkari can't believe, and that he is the Royal Prince of Titan. And when he introduces himself, he says, pleased to make your acquaintance, my fellow Eternals. Now, that is a lot of new information to unpack that raises a lot of questions. So let's run through a few possibilities. One, that Titan was just a normal planet filled with regular organic people, and their leader adopted Eros into the royal family. Sure, but that's boring. Or maybe Titan was a planet populated by Eternals who broke free of the Celestials' control. Could be. But remember this.
Too many mouths, not enough to go around.
The Eternals wouldn't have died of mass starvation. Now, there is a possibility that Titan was ruined in an emergence, which is a possibility we're going to cover in our Thanos Real Plan Revealed video. So there is a third possibility. Titan was filled with normal people, but the Eternals chose to rule over them as benevolent kings and queens. On Earth, the Eternals did not interfere with humanity's evolution because wars create innovations that spur human progress forward and lead to greater population. But maybe, on Titan, the Eternals rebelled against the Celestials and figured out how to keep the Celestial asleep, and then chose to rule the other Titans as benevolent gods. This would explain why Thanos was so hell-bent on achieving actual godhood. He even rested after his holy task of creation was over, just like the god in Genesis. So all of this would mean that Thanos was also an Eternal, unless Eros' dad adopted him into the Eternal royal family. So does this mean that Thanos is an immortal space robot? I mean, maybe. I don't have one of those detectors from Loki, so I can't really say one way or the other.
Do a lot of people not know if they're robots?
So I bet you're wondering, how could Eros and Thanos be brothers if they're both robots? Well, in the comics, it's very rare for the Eternals to breed. Most of them just can't. But Thena is the daughter of an Eternal named Zuros, and Icarus did have a human son. So it could be that there were Eternals on Titan for centuries who figured out how to breed. And this might have created overpopulation since they don't die, and they would have to bleed the planet's resources dry. Thanos could also still have a deviant strain, as a side effect of the unpredictability of the Eternals breeding. Remember, the Celestials made the Eternals and the Deviants, so maybe part of the Deviant schematic was the basis for the Eternals' design, essentially giving the Eternals a dormant Celestial gene, as opposed to this Celestial gene.
I didn't want anyone to see my nipples.
So Eros would have been born completely free of any celestial programming. This would also fit his character as an adventuring, gallivanting ne'er-do-well. So you remember, in the comics, he left Titan shortly after his brother destroyed it. So maybe after Titan was wrecked in the MCU, Harry Styles went to go party out in the universe. But now he's got this orb, and he's going to help the Eternals rescue their friends from the Celestials. And now the answer to our Screen Crush trivia question. Which Infinity Stone did Adam Warlock give to Thanos for safekeeping? The Reality Stone. Well, if you have any more questions about this scene, let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe and smash that bell. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.